What's going on YouTube? Find it's your boy Tony 2Times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. I need y'all to smash that like button, man. I need y'all to smash it because that's how we get the video in rotation, so people can see it, so the channel can grow. It's free, you feel me? Also, I need y'all to share the video, and today we're gonna get right into it. So today we're gonna talk about the Lexington Terrace Projects, the Lexington Terrace Boys. Let's get right into it. Lexington Terrace is a project that's on the west side of Baltimore and always had a reputation for being dangerous. Projects are just like it sounds. It was a project in which earlier days they would put the immigrants from other countries, but eventually it would end up being a lifeline for struggling African Americans. My mans D and Cuckoo are from Lexington Terrace, and I always felt love around West Baltimore Streets. But some people say it different. LTB, or Lexington Terrace Boys, was a group of young men from the projects. Two of the most noticeable of the group, Michael Taylor and Keon Moses, was hoppers or youngins at the time of the alleged events. In the early 2000s, the Project Boys were getting money and protecting their blocks the best way they knew how: action. The crew had a golden rule: you either belonged to the hood or you didn't. The Project Boys really didn't deal with too many outsiders. The money coming through their hood was good for the group, which the oldest was only like 23 years old. The crew made most of their money selling Ready Rock, in which they operated in a business-like structure. But other activities was also in the mix. The name of their gang was Money. The LTB tattooed on them and bandanas, you knew an LTB member when you saw one. The blocks surrounding the projects are no walk in the park either. Most beefs come from other groups catching their sales before they hit the projects, or other hoods trying to come to the projects. Either way, the crew wasn't with it. Violence was nothing major to the organization. The hood would get hot after a lot of bodies would start dropping, usually near the projects or the other blocks. A little backstory: Taylor and Moses, the two young men, they were like brothers. One nicknamed Black, other nicknamed Mumbles. They came up both with single mothers who had addictions. One of the boys lost his stepfather just at 4 years old. He would be hit in the Lexington Terrace buildings. The young men knew violence at a young age. They worked as squeegee boys on MLK before falling knee deep in the streets. Starting as a lookout or corner boy puts you right in the belly of the beast. The organization carried itself like a brotherhood. If you had a problem with one, you had to face them all. With minor convictions that sent members to boot camp and other programs, which wasn't about nothing to the squad. They loved their projects and didn't play about them. The police snatched up both Black and Mumbles prior to their big conviction on federal drug conspiracy and firearms connected to a hit. They were acquitted. This is when one case would get crazy, as a witness would get hit right after this, which made the feds hot. The feds wanted the squad even more. Police parked the van in the hood with wiretaps. They also put surveillance up without them knowing. LTB was back to business as usual though. Things would get crazier when a young man who we would call TB came up missing. TB was alleged to be the cousin of one of the members, and actually was a former member himself. Sources say he violated the squad by not getting rid of a blicky that was allegedly used in a few hits. TB would get a call one night and hop in a green van in which he would go missing. Some say LTB allegedly knocked him off, but no evidence ever came up in his case. But the feds suspected the organization for allegedly committing over 9 hits. The project was heating up. With surveillance, the group's every move was being recorded, and transactions, money being made, and more, which gave the feds the foundation to build a case. Some people from the blocks and jets would turn fed and give up more incriminating information as well. It was coming to an end. The feds swooped in with vengeance, as the squad members had already beat some attempt charges and murder charges. At just age 18, 19, and 23, 3 members were snatched up, including Black and Mumbles. Prosecutors painted a picture of a ruthless organization that would do anything to protect their projects from outsiders or turncoats. Charging the crew with alleged hits, narcotic sales, witness intimidation, and more. The feds was trying to get a young man the death sentence, using tapes and recordings and witness testimonies to paint the young man as menace to society. They would eventually be convicted of some charges and receive a life sentence. The towers were torn down in '96. The project still stand in the low rises. The crew had the money, the power, definitely the respect, but also the fear. Fear overpowers respect. These young men never had a fair chance. They were just moving and doing what they grew up and saw. LTB. I know at least 5 people with that same tattoo. And what it means to them, they would give it all up for. But hey, that's the Baltimore way. Man, first and foremost, man, salute to the Lexington Terrace, you feel me? Salute to them projects over there. Like I said, my man Cuckoo and D, I rock with them tough, you feel me? And this situation crazy because this happened in the early 2000s. And I feel like after they beat them first attempts and them first hits, the feds wanted them off the streets. Now, they was young. Like I said, they was 19, 18, 23 years old. So at the time of their convictions, for them to get life, that's crazy. But they was trying to get them the death penalty because how they tried to make it sound like they was responsible for like 9 or 10 hits. You know what I mean? So they try to make it sound like anybody that came in that projects that went from around there, or anybody on them outside blocks that had a problem with what they had going on, you know, they was gonna make something shake about it. Now, at the end of the day, man, y'all already know, like, when the feds swoop in, it's pretty much a wrap. You know what I mean? And for them to pick their surveillance up, what that did, they got other members jammed up too, and other people in the projects. So they tried to, like, empty the projects completely. And like I said, a project is just that. It's a project. You know what I mean? When they put you in a certain area, you know what I mean, public housing, and people trying to figure out a way to survive, things get a little wild. But it's also a kind of camaraderie there that they don't like. People stick together. People look out for each other. You know, and these young dudes learn how to make a living. Not saying it was right how they made their money, but they did it the best way they knew how with what they had. Now, when you beat the feds or you beat the police by witness intimidation, allegedly, they always gonna have a vendetta out on you. Cause soon as after they beat them, that's when they set the surveillance up. Cause I felt like they knew they was gonna go back out here and try to get them on something else. But man, yeah, this is another episode of the Baltimore Way. This is the Lexington Terrace Boys. Y'all be sure to hit that like button, man. We on that road to 50K. Y'all go ahead, let's get the channel there so I can do that big giveaway, man. So I can show some love like y'all show love to me. Y'all already know, be sure to share the video. Love y'all, fam. I'm out.